Hey, it's Cate Stillman with yogahealer.com, and I'm back with this series around awake living and awakening your dream and deepening your 7 capacities and your 5 elemental competencies. And I just want to start with saying that I feel like this is really an honor to be able to create these videos, even to be in this space and to have all this technology around me, to have the team to help me develop and pull it off, to have the coaches. I just want to thank the coaches who are doing the Have a Dream sessions. We've gotten such an awesome response, and they've had so many great conversations in helping the people that are in the Have a Dream conversations to actualize their dream, to start to make it more real through articulating it, through solidifying it, and through starting to get a little support around their dreams. And I just want to say it's an honor because I know that not everybody gets to do what they want, right? Not everybody gets the sort of leadership, the training. Not everyone has time to watch videos like this, right? And create videos like this. And to me, it really comes down to, there's a certain amount of choice that we get, right? Where we can develop ourselves. And then there's just a certain amount of sort of luck that we have along the way, or what I like how the yogis call it, there's a certain amount of auspiciousness, right? Of actually being able to realize opportunity. And I'm quite grateful that I've had quite a bit of both, right? A lot of drive to use the auspiciousness in ways that are now honestly beyond my wildest dreams. So I'm at this place now, it's really interesting. I'm at this place now where I have invested heavily in my dreams for years and years. And so now I'm at a place of being able to make things happen in quick time, right? I have, not just me, but I've developed teams of people to support my dreams and my vision, which is, to me, I'm like, wow, I never would have guessed that for myself. I never knew I was a leader. Right? I never knew I had the capacity to step into my own native genius, which is an innovative avant-garde leader. I never knew that I would be developing curriculum, that I'd be developing an organization that would grow globally and start to be run by a collective evolutionary leadership group. I mean, to me, it's like my life. I'm like, whose life is this? On the other hand, it's like, of course, this was the dream, and you've been steadily working to make that happen. And so what I want to share a little bit about is what that actually looks like in my lived reality, in terms of the 5 competencies and in terms of the 7 capacities. And I want to share a little bit in a way not to at all seem intimidating, but if anything, really just to inspire you to dream a little bigger for yourself and to start to get clear on the vision of the next phase of you. And I know from working with literally thousands of people at this point, it's interesting, this last month we had over 70,000 downloads on the podcast, right? It's like all of a sudden I'm seeing that by me living my dream, I'm able to actually have bigger impact, the kind of impact I did dream about having as a teenager. And what I'm able to start to see is that there's a lot of us that are disconnected from our own potentiality, right? We just haven't had the skills, the tools, the measurements. We haven't done the worksheets, right? Like we did in video 1, we did that one worksheet on your 7 capacities and where you're at. In video 2, we did the 5 elemental competencies, right? And where you're at in relationship to the 5 elements that show up in all of our reality here, right? And we maybe just haven't actually been coached to be able to make our dreams real. And so that's a big reason about why I'm creating this video series and why I do what I do at the helm of Yoga Healer and at the helm of Yoga Health Coaching, is because I want more of us to realize our dreams. Because I know when you do, it's so tapped in to your care expander, right? You living your dreams enables other people to live their dreams, enables so much of us to create the reality that we want to see. So we can be it's like that whole saying of be the change you want to see in the world. That's real. And if we've been disconnected from that, or we've disempowered ourselves, or we're making the same choices day after day, which are leading to a reality that feels a little bit outdated or feels a little stale, and we're, maybe even have squashed our inner dreamer. And that's I see that as a real problem. So I'm doing this series in many ways to like shake it up, shake you up a little bit, of looking at like what is your dream? What is the next version of you? And one of the key teachings here that I've discovered over time, and it's a yogic teaching at its core, and that's very much of the elastic self. Like, who you think you are is not who you are. Like, who you are is, yes, you are here, this is part of you, but who you also are is beyond space, is beyond time, right? Is so full of power, you can create what you want. And so who you are is so beyond who you think you are or who you thought you were yesterday. And until you plug into that component of yourself, you will be under capacity, right? You'll be less effective in your human potential. So much of what I do, why I do, is because I notice that simply by having the conversation, it awakens it in me. It gets me more clear of what's working and what's not working. It also helps me get immediate feedback from the tribe who watches the videos, who does the lessons, who does the courses, whatnot, and get feedback around what's working, what's not working. So these seven chakra capacities, the 5 elemental capacities, what I found over time is that if we really attune to them, who we become morphs. And this is this core yogic teaching of Svatantriya, which means the deep freedom of the self. Like, we become so free that we can create who we are. And in many of my courses, we teach this as identity evolution. Like, who I was 6 months ago is very different. My capacities were different then. My competencies were different then than they are now. And I can tell you from past experience that who I will be in 6 months will be very different than this person you're watching today. I will look different. I will feel different. I will have more mastery of space, of time, of dharma, of flow, of body. And how do I know this? I know this from my past because I can see and I can measure those numbers on those charts, on those worksheets 1 and 2. I can see those numbers and how they've slowly moved up the scale over time. Some of them have taken giant leaps forward. Others have stabilized at high levels. And I can see the skill sets involved. And currently the skill sets for me are around leadership and collective leadership. Those are the 2 biggest skill sets that I'm currently evolving, that those will increase in capacity within the next 6 months. Who I will be 6 months from now is not who I am now. And I want the same for you. So if you see yourself more as a noun of this is who I am, then a verb of who I am is changing. Who I am is who I'm becoming next, right? And I'm using my space, my time, I'm using dharma as a guidance. I'm using my experience of flow, my attunement to desire. I'm using my ability to ground the ever-changing present in this moment of reality so I can be grounded, right, for my life and not just like miss it because I was out to lunch. But this is what I see as possible for all of us. And, you know, the other big why for me is just like you watched in video too, and you heard stories from people in the courses and the inner circles of like, it makes people leaders over time. So they lead their own communities, they lead their own families, they lead their own neighborhoods, right, into more of awake living. So to me, that's really what it's all about. Now, I'm going to share a little bit more personally here about what this means, because this course is different, or this experience that, or these skills which I teach in the Awake Living course, are really different than the skills that I teach in other courses. Like the skills I teach in Yogi Detox do have a lot to do with identity evolution, but it has much more to do with the physical body. It has much more to do with nurturing on multiple levels, nourishing on multiple levels. The skills that I teach in the Living Ayurveda course are much more about bringing this ancient history of Ayurveda into the future through us and realizing these deep wisdom traditions and bringing them to light within us in an embodied way so that we can access deep internal energy, so that we can do the deep work of owning our multiple levels of self and awaken our subtle anatomy. The work we do in yoga health coaching is much more career-based for wellness professionals, right? So this Awake Living course is really open to everyone, and these skills in Awake Living are open to everyone. And part of what I've seen, and my members of courses have asked me to teach these skills, and it became this course, is going to become this book. and this is a little weird to share, because then it's like there's a level to brag, and then there's a level just to simply own, right? To like own what's gone on. So I mean, I was a typical, in many ways, Ayurvedic practitioner, yoga teacher with a lot of drive, towards impact, towards using what I knew to make a difference in the world. So using my care in a way that would actually impact on a global level. And I had that, but it always felt latent. It always felt, like wishful thinking. So what's happened though over time is there's been a steady investment in skill building, right? And in mastery of these competencies, of these elemental competencies. And what's happened is that, from being a yoga teacher making whatever, initially maybe $40,000 a year, I'm now growing a multi-million-dollar company. And with that comes like a nice sizable paycheck, right? With that comes investing in my future. I've been able to not just invest in my own dreams, but I've invested really heavily in my husband's dreams. And he had a dream to build us a house. And then we pulled in one of our good friends in Mexico who's a architect, and my husband and my daughter sat down and they drew out our house on graph paper, and they showed it to the architect, and together they all created this house that I'm living in now, and that my income funded, which is actually bringing my husband, who had never built a house before, and it's now like literally one of the nicest houses in Teton Valley, Idaho. And we know that because my husband's a glazier and he's visited a lot of the nicest houses in the valley. It's turning him into a builder, right? It's actually morphing his career. And this is what I find happens. Like when you step into your dream, it has the sparkiness that enables other people to step into their dreams. Many of you already know that due to past success, and due to a desire for more freedom and lifestyle, I bought a condo in Mexico a few years ago. Then I bought another condo in Mexico because I didn't want to have visitors in my condo. I like my personal space. And so I spend as much time down there as I want, as much time here as I want. Like I have freedom of space, of time, of travel. I've developed a business, a career over time that allows me to be wherever in the world I want to be, as long as I'm on the internet a couple days a week, right? To have the kind of time to develop curriculum, to write books, right? To make free videos for the world. And I want to say simultaneously, like my relationship with my husband over time has become more close, more intimate, more in many ways connected to our co-creative potential together. As tribe leader at Yoga Healer, it's enabled me to build a support team and to actually elevate students and members in the courses to become leaders of the courses. And to actually see people develop their potential into leadership is a pretty amazing experience in itself. At Yoga Health Coaching, which I started a certification program 5 years ago, now we have a full-on coaching team, and I'm more or less like handing the organization towards the coaching team. They've developed and I've helped facilitate them developing a group blog. Now they're developing a group podcast, a collective podcast, and we're starting to collectively explore, like, what is collective evolution? What are the skill sets of collective evolution? What are the skill sets of collective leadership? And you'll be hearing me write a lot more on that in the future, as well as I'm just reporting from the hood. Now, all of this is my dream, right? This was my unique dream. My unique dream really has a lot to do with personal and planetary thrive. It's embedded in the values of every course that I teach. That not just you get healthier, but your ecosystem gets healthier. Not just your person-to-person relational ecosystem, but your physical environment, both the one you're controlling and living in, and the one outside your home, the ecosystems that we're all living in our neighborhoods, right? That we're getting healthier, we're stepping more and more into thrive as a planet. So that's a little bit about why I do what I do.